You're watching the 50 States of AR-15 on Big Gunner 81. Brought to you by BATArms.com.
Welcome everybody to the 50 States of AR-15 project. I'm your host, Rick, also by Big Gunner 81. Today we're actually talking with John Paul of JP Enterprises. You're going to see some of his products actually in the upcoming Minnesota rifle build, which is actually where he's based out in Minnesota. So welcome, John. Thank you for being with us.
Rick, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get started into the world of manufacturing firearms components and accessories?
Well, I've been around a long time, obviously, and when I got out of college, I realized I was unemployable, so I had to figure out something, and I knew motorcycles, music, and guns.
Nice.
So I ended up making the right choice, and I had actually a retail store in North Minneapolis for about 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not going to go into why I left there, but it just got too dangerous. And I know I was into competitive shooting. My father got me into competitive shooting as a young kid, and I wanted to specialize in products for competitive shooters. That's how I started into this. I wanted to have a mail order operation to reach really a national market instead of just a local market. And so in '91, that's when I got out of that and started this. And my first product was what we call the recoil eliminator. Some people call it the tank brake. And then, of course, we got into the specializing in the AR-15 products, and one after another. But that's what I was using in competition. And of course, I wanted to set out to solve the problems I perceived that it had.
Nice. That's very cool. So speaking of competition, do you actually do any competitions yourself right now?
Oh yeah, I'm still really active in not only multi-gun competition, but I've been kind of also involved into this long-range tactical shooting. And I have a place down in New Mexico. I bought 1,000 acres down in New Mexico that's all set up as a shooting facility. And we host a number of events there and also give classes in long-range precision. So that place is really kind of neat. It's got 3 miles of canyon rim and targets down in the canyons. And so you have to find them, dope them, and shoot them.
Wow, that is very cool to have access to that. So that's actually open to the public, or how does that work? Is that like
Yeah, it's called the Blue Steel Ranch. BlueSteelRanch.us is the website, and that kind of goes over the courses we offer, and also has a calendar of events. And it's not open like on a daily basis, but it's strictly for events and classes at this time.
Oh, very cool. So out of your products you make right now, what are some of the hot products, the flagship items that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, of course, for years and quite a few years, we had the most successful fire control system for these rifles for action shooting. If you looked at the NRA high power community, who evolved, of course, into black guns, after the M14, had some success for many years, and finally, all of a sudden, the quote unquote mouse guns came on the scene, and people realized really the potential of these things. And of course, because they were born and raised on 2-stage triggers, you had the Krieger Milazzo and the Armalite 2-stage triggers. And about that time, we came out with a single stage. We felt that the people in our community, the action shooting community, wanted a single stage trigger, and we kind of engineered the problems out of that. It was the common wisdom that you could not make a single stage trigger function reliably or durably in these rifles, and well, you can. We've proven that. So that was the first product that really kind of paved the way for us, and we rolled all of that, all the profit really from that into other products. And so we continued to product development, and we came up with the adjustable gas system concept, the modular handguard concept, different barrel profiles with the thermal dissipator to remove the heat from high volume shooting, a whole assortment of carriers for different bolt carriers for different applications, of course, from our extremely low mass or ultra low mass aluminum carrier all the way up to now we have what we call a suppressor carrier that is a variable mass, integrally buffered carrier solves the problems that are inherent with trying to run detachable cans on semi-auto rifles like this.
So that adjustable buffer for the suppressed platforms, that actually has removable weights off the back of it somehow?
Right. Yeah, it coincides with the silent captured spring, which is, I guess, right now, if we have a flagship product, that's probably it. That's really kind of taken the market by storm. But, and after we developed that, we got a request from one particular military unit to build some rifles for testing, and they wanted to run, of course, with a detachable can. And I knew, of course, the problems that is inherent in running, say, large format gas guns with detachable cans. You've got the bolt velocity, due to port pressure variation, and you got the fouling of the receiver due to flow back from the can. So we designed this carrier, and that carrier solves both of those problems. It further mass regulates the rifle, really allows you to have it set up so that you can run with the suppressor or without the suppressor without having to adjust the gas system. Because I thought to myself, even though we do the Remington RSAS, some people are probably aware that we build the rifle that Remington sells, as their semi-automatic sniper system, and they wanted a switch block on it. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm out there in combat and it's raining and it's dark and somebody's shooting at me, I don't want it to be thinking about having to adjust that if I need to put the can on or remove it. And so I wanted really a foolproof system that didn't involve any adjustments. And this accomplished that. Plus, like I said, the fouling issue is really critical, because when you run a can on a gas gun, unlike a bolt gun where the cartridge remains sealed up in the chamber until it's all over, well, as soon as the rifle extracts on a semi-auto rifle, you got all that back pressure in the can blowing all that fouling back into the chamber, really mucking it up. And of course, after not too many rounds, they cease going into battery. Mm-hmm. And so with this added buffer component on the suppressor or on the carrier itself, it literally just hammers that carrier home. And we recently, one of my teammates, Clark Kennedy, who's the guy that I shoot all the long range team events with, he trains a lot of military people, and he had his LRP. He was doing a helicopter demo and had a bunch of guys from 10th group out there, and they were just shooting the crap out of this LRP-07 with the suppressor on it, and it went like 800 rounds without cleaning, with no malfunctions, so
nice.
Almost unheard of for a suppressed rifle.
So what are some of the trends that you are kind of seeing with the AR-15 platform that are kind of more current right now?
Well, it's, the thing has really exploded. And like you say, there's so many boutique manufacturers making just no end to accessories and components. And it's great to see it. I love to go to the matches and see these people coming, because really, when I see them at the match, I know that they're actually using their product. I mean, you know as well as I do that there's just a lot of stuff out there that's designed by people who don't shoot, and you can spot that stuff a mile away. But the people that are shooting at the matches and have a product that they've developed through the lens of shooting competitively, that's the stuff that you got to look for, because you know that it's got somebody behind the trigger that's actually using it. So there's been a lot of development in handguards, of course. Like I said, we go way back with that and kind of pioneered the whole modular handguard concept. And we have two different formats of that. One we call it rapid configuration. It doesn't use the backer plates, of course.
So actually, tell us about this. Speaking of handguards, tell us a little bit about the handguard we're going to be using in the 50 States of AR-15 project.
Yeah, that's what we call the the original or the classic, and it's got the slots. Cosmetically, I just like that look. And of course, we came up with a detachable rail system that used a backer plate that fit in the slots. And of course, you got we make that in various lengths all the way out to 17.5 inches. It accepts a top rail that times into the upper, and that's one. So I call it a pseudo monolithic upper, because what it allows you to do is have, instead of the upper being permanently attached, or the upper rail being permanently attached or machined into the handguard, it has slotted holes which allow you to fit it, and time it up. So in other words, your rail continuity continues forward into the top rail, just like it would on a monolithic upper.
And one of the things I thought was kind of neat about this too, as I'm grabbing it right here, is actually the barrel nut, the design of this.
Well, you've actually got the Gen 2 series there.
Okay.
So I'll tell you, the Gen 3 actually is quite a bit different, and we solved another problem with that. And so you see that castle nut. The Gen 3 has a much reduced nut system that is actually inside there, and we furnish a special tool to tighten it up with. We've eliminated the 6 screws that holds the tube on, because those were problematic for some people. Some people broke those screws off, by over torquing them and whatnot. And so the new system has a backer, what we call a jam plate, and a tension nut and it's a threaded system, eliminating the screws. And it allows you to tune the outside axis of the tube to the bore axis of the barrels.
I got you. Very neat. So what do you see down the road for JP Enterprises?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, the one thing that has just gone crazy for us is these 9mm carbines. I just happen to enjoy shooting them, and for a while we started out buying some 9mm components from another manufacturer and just converting them, with our externals and whatnot, and we decided to do it all from the ground up. And so we have our own bolt, and we actually solved a lot of inherent problems with 9mm bolts. And we have incredibly accurate barrels for these things. I did an actually test on one of these things, and with the Freedom Munitions 124 XTP Hornady load that they have, I shot a 1-inch 100-yard group with a 9mm.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Then we got to start a new game, 9mm bench rest.
Nice. So the other question I was going to ask is, with the 9mm carbines that you're building, which style magazines are you using with them?
We have a lower that accepts the Glock 1719 series magazines. Yeah, USPSA has a division for these things now. Pistol carbine, and between that and just the popularity of the 9mm, we can't even. We've had a hard time keeping up with those, and we have an all new dedicated 9mm upper receiver coming out now too, which is both a side and a top charger. You've probably seen we offer various billet receivers, and one of the receiver concepts has both the T-handle, the top charge, and a side charge, so it's got redundant charging.
That's pretty cool.
So whether you're coming off the HK platform or the AR platform, your method is there, so it's very user-friendly.
Very neat. Yeah, that is something I have been noticing too, that the pistol caliber carbine coming up in popularity as well. I think it's an awesome idea. One of the things that I'm fond of particularly too is, as you mentioned, the use of Glock mags. For those that shoot, a Glock pistol in their competitions, to be able to have the same kind of mags or the same kind of ammo, it really cuts the cost of your shooting. I think that's a great point there for people who are in competitive shooting.
Yeah, and a lot of these club matches are inside 100 yards. And if you're shooting inside of 100 yards, one of these 9mm carbines is all you need.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know 3Gun Nation also picked up a pistol caliber carbine class as well on many of their events. Yeah,
going forward, I would suspect that we'll probably do an M&P lower also, because if I were to take a guess, I think Glocks and M&Ps are probably two of the most popular pistols out there in the action pistol community, and of course the 3-gun community.
True.
And not to mention law enforcement. I mean, so yeah, the ability to have your sidearm and a carbine with the same magazine system is really valuable.
If there was a way to make one that would adapt to all of them, that'd be really cool. But I know you're dealing with the physical characteristics and shapes and sizes of all these things and trying to engineer them and all that. And that really is an art. And I think it's amazing. That's one of my passions too, is the manufacturing behind it, seeing CNC machining and programming, all that kind of stuff, the actual manufacturing. That's really cool stuff.
Yeah, some pretty amazing things they can do nowadays. And a good example of that too is barrel manufacturing and how accurate barrels are nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And not too long ago, I actually was able to go visit the guys at Criterion Barrels and check out their facility. That was really neat. When it comes to the design of all your products, what have you had your hands in as far as the design of? And tell us a little about that process, how things go from like a thought to the final production a little bit.
Well, really, it all hinges on my experience in competitive shooting.
Okay.
That really is kind of like the anvil on which all this stuff is forged, because all this, really, it's all to solve my personal problems.
Nice.
And just luckily someone else has those same issues. So, from the very outset, and for the first time I got a hold of 3-gun or understood what that was about, and realizing that really the AR-15 was, in my opinion, the only competitive rifle for that game, for all kinds of reasons I'm not going to bore you with. But all of its inherent shortcomings in its military configuration, we just had to get beyond all that stuff, and it just evolved one thing after another. Where we said, well, what if we did this, and what if we did that, and obviously the reliability of the system was foremost. The gun, there's no alibis in action shooting. The gun absolutely has to work, like in real life. But then the other thing that we really concentrated on over the years was the mitigation of the recoil impulse, or having the most controllable recoil impulse, resulting in the fastest possible sight recovery. And I think we're unique in this. I don't think anybody, if you put one of these rifles together with our BC-1 carrier and all the rest of these parts and the efficient comps, the impulse off the rifle is just really unbelievable how fast it is.
So here's a loaded question, I guess. When it comes to recoil reduction, where do you find, personally, from your experience, the most reduction in recoil? Is it from the muzzle brake or from the reciprocating mass of like the bolt carrier group or the buffer or the gas system?
It works really like this. I mean, first off, if you started out with a basic stock rifle, the compensator is the single biggest, and like putting a compensator on a rifle is going to be your single biggest improvement. And then if you're going to go spend more money beyond that, the next biggest improvement is the adjustable gas system and be able to tune the bolt velocity into the sweet spot. And the side benefit of that is the rifle becomes much more reliable when the bolt velocity is correct and in the sweet spot. You stop breaking extractors, you stop breaking bolts in the cam pin area, so the durability and reliability of the thing increases dramatically. And then after that, now we play with reciprocating mass and spring systems, and that becomes the icing on the cake. When you put it all together, and yeah, the effect is pretty amazing.
We're actually going to build this one out to be more of a 3-gun geared style rifle on it. We're going to be featuring a 16-inch barrel as of right now. Of course, we've got a hyperfire trigger in it, and we've got your handguard. And we're still building some of the other components to put together with this. Also have Obsidian arms, their upper and lower receiver set, and Bluth AR's adjustable stock and their buffer system at this point. And we're going to have a couple more components we have to still get yet to finish this out. But it's going to be based around 3 guns, so I'm looking forward to kind of playing around with the adjustable gas system on that to get it all dialed in and do some recoil reduction with this build as well.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and we'll wrap things up. I appreciate you coming on with us, and I appreciate your support of the project. Is there anything else that you would like to mention that we didn't cover?
No, I think we gave it the quick rundown there. So
awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And you know, you're going to see this rifle coming up very soon, and we're going to keep doing some videos on it and so forth. And it's a pretty exciting project. So I'm looking forward to doing this. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to work with you on this and share your story about your company. You know, and again, if there's anything else in the future we could throw out there for you, let us know.
All right. So, thank you. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.